Hello, dear friends, and welcome back to Lingering Light. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Can you hear it? That gentle, rhythmic pulse of the tide. That is the sound of time, not ticking away like a frantic clock, but flowing, ebbing, and returning to us in waves of wisdom. Tonight, we are opening a small but mighty book. If Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet was a grand cathedral of words, his 1926 masterpiece, Sand and Foam, is a collection of smooth, weathered pebbles found along the shore. It is a book of aphorisms, short, punchy truths that remind us that life is made of the sand, our heavy, daily realities, and the foam, the light, fleeting beauty that dances on top. To guide us through these waves, we are returning to the cozy, lavender-scented living room of our friend, Martha. Martha is 82. She's reached the age where her bucket list mostly consists of remembering why she walked into the kitchen and finding a brand of orthopedic shoes that doesn't look like they were designed by a submarine engineer. Martha has been feeling a bit sandy lately, weighted down by the small annoyances of aging. But as she opens Gibran's book, she discovers that even the smallest grain of sand can turn into a pearl if you treat it with enough grace and a healthy dose of humor. It was a Tuesday morning, and Martha was engaged in her daily battle with the bathroom mirror. She was attempting to apply a bit of lipstick, a shade called Sunset Coral, that promised to make her look radiant. Radiant, Martha muttered, squinting at her reflection. Kahlil, I look like a dried apricot that's been left in the sun too long. She flipped open Sand and Foam to a random page. Her eyes landed on this. Every man is two men. One is awake in the darkness. The other is asleep in the light. Martha paused, her lipstick mid-air. She realized she spent so much energy worrying about the woman in the light, the one the neighbors saw, the one with the sagging jawline and the supportive hosiery. But what about the woman awake in the darkness? That Martha was still 16, dreaming of Paris. That Martha was 40, holding her first grandchild. That Martha was ageless. Gibran writes, the reality of the other person is not in what he reveals to you, but in what he cannot reveal to you. Martha looked at her cat, Barnaby. Barnaby was currently staring at her, with a look of profound disappointment because his breakfast was 4 minutes late. You only reveal your hunger, Barnaby, she whispered. But I know in your dark, feline soul, you actually quite like me. She decided then and there to stop apologizing for her wrinkles. Remembrance is a form of meeting, Gibran says. She touched the silver-framed photo of her late husband, Frank. Every wrinkle near her eyes was a meeting with a memory, a laugh they shared, a worry they overcame. And forgetfulness is a form of freedom. You hear that, Barnaby? She chuckled. I didn't lose my car keys. I'm just practicing my free. Wednesday brought Martha back to her pottery class, where she was currently struggling to turn a lump of gray clay into anything other than a lopsided ashtray. Her grandson, Leo, had dropped her off, grumbling the whole way about his dead-end job and how he wasn't making enough money to really live. Arthur, Martha's gentleman friend, who smells of peppermint and high-quality wood wax, sat down beside her. He noticed her struggling with the clay. Need a hand, Martha? He asked, his hearing aid whistling a cheerful B-flat. Martha remembered Gibran's words on giving. You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. She looked at Leo, who was still hovering by the door, checking his phone. Leo, she called out. Come here. Arthur is about to give me the most valuable thing he owns. Leo looked skeptical. What? A secret stock tip? No, Martha said, patting the stool. His patience. His time. Himness. Gibran writes, generosity is giving more than you can, and pride is taking less than you need. Martha realized that as we get older, our bank account changes currency. We don't give checks anymore. We give presents. She told Arthur, go ahead. Help me fix this pancake-shaped bowl. That's your true wealth today. Later, as Leo drove her home, she shared another grain from Gibran. If you would know God, be not a solver of riddles. Rather look about you and you shall see him playing with your Leo, she said, you're so busy trying to solve the riddle of success that you're missing the foam. Your daughter just learned to whistle. That's the miracle. The rest is just sand in your shoes. On Thursday, the ocean of Martha and Arthur's relationship hit a bit of a storm. The subject, the dishwasher. Arthur, Martha cried out, her voice echoing in the kitchen. The forks go prongs up. If you put them prongs down, the water can't reach the tips. It's basic physics. Arthur stood there, holding a greasy salad fork like it was a weapon of war. In my house, we put them down so we don't stab ourselves when we unload them. It's safety, Martha. They stood in a frosty silence. Martha felt her heart hardening. She wanted to be right more than she wanted to be kind. Then, she saw the book on the counter. Between what is said and not meant, and what is meant and not said, most of love is lost. Martha took a deep breath. What she said was about forks. What she meant was, I'm 82, Arthur. I feel like I'm losing my grip on the world. And this kitchen is the only place where I still feel like the boss. Please don't take that away from me. She looked at Arthur, whose shoulders were slumped. She realized he was also feeling sandy. Gibran writes, love is the veil between lover and lover. It's a thin, delicate thing that connects us, but also reminds us that we are two separate souls. She walked over and took the fork from his hand. Arthur, she said softly, forget the forks. I've realized that the man who is most obsessed with his own shadow is the one who is least aware of the sun. I'm obsessing over the shadow of a. Let's go sit on the porch and be aware of the sun instead. Arthur let out a long sigh of relief. Friendship is always a sweet responsibility, never an opportunity. He didn't use the moment to gloat. He just took her hand and said, I'll buy the ice cream. Friday was a gravity day. The weather was changing, and Martha's lower back felt like it had been replaced by a piece of dry driftwood. Every move was a negotiation. She sat in her recliner, watching Barnaby chase a sunbeam. It's not fair, Barnaby, she grumbled. You have 4 legs and 0 responsibilities, and you're more flexible than a gymnast. She picked up sand and foam. The pearl is a temple built by pain around a grain of sand. Martha looked at her gnarled knuckles. Kahlil, I must be a walking jewelry store by now. I've got enough temples in these joints to fill a city. But then she read further. Could you keep your heart and wonder at the daily miracles of your life? Your suffering would not seem less strange than your joy. She tried a little experiment. Instead of focusing on the sharp zap in her hip, she focused on the miracle of her morning coffee, the steam rising in curls, the warmth of the mug, the fact that, despite the rusty hinges, she could still taste the hazelnut creamer. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Martha realized that her pain was actually a bitter medicine. It forced her to slow down. If she weren't stuck in this chair, she wouldn't have noticed the way the neighbor's toddler was helping his dad pull weeds. She wouldn't have seen the cardinal landing on the fence. If you were to stay amazed by the little things, your bad days would feel just as important as your good ones. By the time Arthur called to check on her, she didn't complain about her back. She told him about the cardinal. It was the most brilliant red, Arthur. It looked like a drop of blood against the sky. It reminded me that life is a procession of people who are climbing towards the light. Even us, with our creaky knees, we're still climbing. Saturday evening, Martha and Arthur were sitting on the porch, watching the sky turn from a pale lemon to a deep, bruised violet. Do you ever feel like we're running out of sand in the hourglass? Arthur asked quietly. Martha thought about Gibran's opening line, I am forever walking upon these shores, betwixt the sand and the foam. Arthur, she said, Gibran says that even as the sun sets, it is rising somewhere else. We think we're ending, but maybe we're just unfolding into a different kind of morning. She looked at her garden. The roses were past their prime, dropping petals onto the dark earth. To a younger person, it might look like death, but Martha knew those petals were becoming soil for next year's bloom. We wanderers, ever seeking the lonelier way, begin no day where we have ended another day, and no sunrise finds us where sunset left us. She realized that being 82 wasn't about staying put. It was about the most important travel of all, the travel of the soul. In the sweetness of friendship let there be laughter, and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. She leaned her head on Arthur's shoulder. They didn't need grand speeches. They didn't need to be full moons. They were just 2 grains of sand, enjoying the foam of a quiet evening together. My dear friends at Lingering Light, Martha's journey through sand and foam reminds us of a simple, radical truth. Life is gritty. It has sand that gets into our shoes, our joints, and our plans. It carries the weight of roles we used to play and the shadows of those we've lost. But it also has the foam, the laughter over a dishwasher, the brilliance of a red bird, the warmth of a hand that's as weathered as our own. Gibran tells us, I am forever walking upon these shores. The high tide will erase my footprints, and the wind will blow away the foam, but the sea and the shore will remain forever. You are that shore. You are that sea. Your presence here tonight is a miracle. Don't worry about the footprints you leave behind. The tide will take care of those. Just focus on the dew of little things that refreshes your heart. I have a question for you tonight. What is one grain of gold you found in your day today? Perhaps a kind word, a good meal, or just a quiet moment of peace. Please share it with us in the comments. We are all walking this shoreline together, and your story is the light we need. May your sand be soft, your foam be bright, and may the light linger in your soul long into the night. Good night, dear friends.